Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us at noon. I'm Mackailyn Johnson. Here are some of the stories we'll be bringing you today. The coronavirus pandemic has led to hospital staff shortages across the country as healthcare workers report a significant rise in burnout. How one hospital is addressing the issue head on, coming up in 20 minutes. And it's day 3 of hearings in Washington for the confirmation of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court. We've got the latest coming up in less than 10 minutes. Plus, Arkansans can expect their electric bills to go up because of the increase of natural gas prices. How soon you can expect yours to go up? That answer in just 5 minutes. Well, we have those stories ahead, but first, meteorologist Nathan Scott joins us off the top with a check of the forecast. Happy Wednesday, Nathan. How are things looking for us? Good afternoon to you, Mackailyn. The Bradford trees, they're out. They're stinking up the place. It's a true sign of spring, but you step outside and it feels like fall out there. Here's the reason why. The clouds, they are locked in a large part of central Arkansas, keeping the temperatures down into the 40s. Where there's more sun in south and southwest Arkansas, you've warmed up into the 50s. Still a little bit of light rain activity or some sprinkles showing up around Augusta, McCrory, Woodruff County. Those are moving off to the east. And also we've got this biting breeze from the west, about 10 to 20 miles per hour. So it feels like the low 40s here in Little Rock and Conway. Feels like only the upper 30s in Clinton, and it feels like freezing in Harrison. So it's going to be a sweater weather type day. Here's what you can expect for today. Still a lot of clouds. We may see a little bit of sun here in Little Rock by later today. More sun down to the south and southwest. Highs topping out to the low 60s. North Arkansas, though, you're staying into the 40s. I do have some warmer weather and more pleasant weather going into the rest of the work week and also the weekend. I'll have that forecast coming up. All right, thanks, Nathan. Now to developing news out of Dumas. Arkansas State Police say they have arrested one person connected to the shooting that killed one and injured dozens of others. 22-year-old Brandon Knight was arrested after being released from the hospital this morning, according to police. Brittany Allen of Rogers was shot in the leg Saturday night while she was at the Hoodnick Car Show. She says she's gone to the event every year for the past 16 years because it was organized to address gun violence in the area. She says she hopes the event is not defined by this one incident and hopes its purpose lives on. But after seeing multiple kids and adults running and screaming for their lives, she says it was a nightmare.
We will never be the same from this. Nobody will ever be the same from this, even if you weren't a victim of the gun violence and you were there or you knew somebody who was there. It will never be the same from this. So it's like innocent lives were lost. Someone did actually pass away and their family didn't deserve that, and then my life will never be the same.
When it comes to the investigation, we know one person was questioned after being arrested on unrelated charges. State police say the shooting was a gunfight between two people. Well, Arkansans can expect their electric bills to go up because of the increase of natural gas prices. Entergy customers will start seeing their bill go up next month, but other companies have been incorporating the increases throughout the year. Ashley Godwin shows us what you could be paying.
Natural gas has traditionally been a very low-cost source for us to generate electricity.
Now that's changing. Natural gas is becoming one of the most expensive fuel sources. Last year's rates were just pretty much outrageous. They could not have been anticipated. Entergy tells us natural gas prices increased almost 100% last year for them. So, for the first time in 2 years, Entergy is increasing their energy cost recovery rate. It's a combination of what Entergy pays for fuel and how much a person uses in their home. It accounts for about 9% of a person's bill. So for the average Entergy customer who uses 1,000 kilowatt hours per month, they will see around $8 more on their bill. But not every electric company adjusts their rates annually.
We actually pass the fuel costs through immediately.
Arkansas Electric Cooperative customers may have seen their bills increase steadily in the past year because as natural gas prices increased, the company adjusted for each bill.
So if the cost of natural gas goes above what we predicted, that's automatically passed through to our members that month.
Entergy was looking to expand their natural gas resources in Arkansas, but recently they have decided to look at other options to save money.
Instead, we have put out a bid for proposals for more renewable energy, solar, wind, hydro, that sort of thing.
For Wake Up Central, I'm Ashley Godwin.
Entergy gets 16% of its power from natural gas and 14% from renewable, hydro, and solar. The majority, 70%, is nuclear, which is also getting more expensive. Uranium prices have almost doubled over the past year, especially after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Entergy customers will see those changes starting in April. There are other ways to save money, though. Entergy suggests making your home more energy efficient by insulating your windows and doors and monitoring your thermostat usage. And families everywhere are enjoying some time off this week for spring break. While many have been waiting to travel for over 2 years, prices are continuing to increase. Despite the higher costs, the travel industry is back and booming. The AC Hotel in downtown Little Rock opened up just before the pandemic started. They were only filling up rooms at 10% capacity, but now they're selling out almost every night. It's a similar trend that travel agent Cindy Miner is experiencing. The current tensions outside of the country aren't helping travel prices any, with flights costing more. But Miner says that isn't changing anyone's plans.
Now with heading into the summer, people are like, okay, it's a little bit more than I thought it was going to be, but they're going anyway.
Something you should start planning now is summer vacations. The AC Hotel says they are already booking up for the summer months, and Miner says aside from high costs, some of her clients are running into no availability at certain resorts or hotels. 4 Arkansas voting laws are stuck in the courts as a Pulaski County judge puts up blocks, and Attorney General Leslie Rutledge looks to appeal them. But how could these laws impact you? Sarah Habakowitz breaks it all down.
Arkansans all have the right to vote in free and equal elections, but how that process happens can change with new laws determining everything from polling hours to who's eligible to vote, and possibly changing how Arkansans can make their voice heard. It's Pulaski County Clerk Terry Hollingsworth's job to apply those laws.
We need to have some guidelines, some rules to follow by so that it would be free and fair for all people to be able to vote.
Last year, 4 laws were passed on who can be at the polls, voter identification, voting signatures, and when you can return an absentee ballot in person.
Laws over time can change due to maybe we need to update and improve the laws that we have to fit modern times.
There's a lot of back and forth right now in the courts about whether these laws line up with that constitutional right to vote. So let's run through what they mean. The first, Act 728, would forbid anyone who's not there to vote from coming within 100 feet of a polling site. That's except for children and someone legally assisting the voter.
If you're trying to give somebody some food or a snack or, some water, you are not able to do that within that 100-feet area.
The second act, 249, would mostly impact absentee voters and require everyone to show a photo ID.
If you're going to vote by absentee, then you must have your ID in the packet.
The third act, 736, would more closely enforce ballot signatures to match registration.
I'm not a handwriting expert, neither are my staff members. And so then we've got to try to figure out, is this that person that says that they are?
And the fourth, Act 973, would bring up the deadline for Arkansas voters to hand in their absentee ballot in person, changing from the day before Election Day to the Friday before.
Usually voters were given at least that Monday before. And so that can be kind of confusing, which could make a problem for folks who are trying to vote.
But earlier this month, these laws were blocked by Pulaski Circuit Judge Wendell Griffin, saying they were unconstitutional in making voting more difficult. Many Democrats agree with the ruling. Senator Elliott fighting against these bills from the start.
I want you to know the legislators who are fighting for you have done everything they can do.
But many Republicans support some of the stricter laws. Attorney General Leslie Rutledge announced this week she's going to appeal a decision Governor Asa Hutchinson agrees with. Governor Hutchinson saying, quote, states should be left with the flexibility to protect the integrity of the ballot box, and the Supreme Court will have the opportunity to review the constitutionality of these laws. So these laws, whether you believe they can improve security, obstruct voting, or even somewhere in between, could change how you vote in the next election. Reporting, Sarah Habakowitz for Wake Up Central.
The state's new redistricting map for voters is also being contested in the courts. 2 lawsuits now claim the new district lines from a majority Republican-led legislature dilute the influence of black voters. We will continue to follow those lawsuits as proceedings continue. And Supreme Court nominee Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson is back for final day of questioning in her confirmation hearings. Deborah Alfarone reports from Capitol Hill.
I just want to lodge a protest.
Day 3 of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's Supreme Court confirmation hearings kicked off with partisan bickering over how the hearings are being run.
After every time somebody on this side of the aisle asks questions of the judge, you come back and you denigrate and you attack and you criticize the line of questioning. I think the judge is doing a pretty good job of defending her own position and answering questions.
Chairman Dick Durbin defended his handling of the hearings and said some of the questions had less to do with Judge Jackson's record and more to do with politics.
To showcase talking points for the November election. For example, all Democrats are soft on crime, therefore this nominee must be soft on crime.
Some Republicans have said Judge Jackson was too lenient on sex offender sentencing, a claim that former Senator Doug Jones, who President Biden picked to guide Judge Jackson through the confirmation process, dismissed.
We were expecting tough questions, but we're not quite expecting questions that mischaracterize her record and those kind of things. Her record speaks for itself.
In an equally divided Senate, Judge Jackson's eventual confirmation vote is shaping up to be mostly along party lines.
Based on what I'm hearing so far, I have a hard time supporting her based on what I know.
The White House says 1 or 2 Republicans may still be convinced to vote to confirm Judge Jackson to the Supreme Court. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Capitol Hill.